Before we get started, I would like to know, have you heard of the mentoring program in Toastmasters? Please raise your hand and keep your hands up if you already have had a mentor in this club or anywhere else. Thank you, that's what I wanted to see. Tonight I want to introduce you the mentoring program in Toastmasters. So I'm going to give you very basic characteristics that you would be looking for in a mentor, and I will give you some hints of my experience. I will refer to my mentor as he, sometimes she, but I expect you at the end of my speech to try to discover who this person was. So the mentor you're looking for has to comply with 3 basic characteristics. One of them is being knowledgeable, someone who is experienced. You also want someone who is positive, who is supportive, and finally someone who is committed, someone who has the time to commit to the mentoring. So let me get started with my experience. When I first came to Toastmasters, I remember a year and a half ago, on my first meeting, the very first person that I saw greeting me in the community center with a radiant smile was the person who would be eventually my mentor. This person offered me his spot, and that was very convenient because he was trying to keep me updated. He was trying to make sure that I would understand how the meeting was going. And he mentioned something that is very true. I guess you would agree with me. He said, we clap a lot. He encouraged me to participate that night into table topics. And I was very excited to be a guest and being able to win the ribbon that night. Weeks later, when I joined the club and I found out about the mentoring program, I thought of her because I heard her evaluations before, and I thought that her evaluations were very thorough and very tactful. So that gave me the confidence to pick her because I could see that she was very knowledgeable, that she was very experienced. That's something you have to look in a mentor. Someone that has completed at least one manual, someone that you can come to for questions, for orientation, and I could see that on her. But also I could see how she was very positive and very supportive. Not only giving feedback to others, but giving me feedback. He would stay with me after the meetings and give me feedback about my speeches. Very positive, very encouraging, but also very careful on giving me constructive feedback. That was very nice. I remember one of the most helpful things that he recommended to me was getting rid of my notes. I was at the beginning writing my speeches from A to Z, memorizing them, and I was quickly moving towards more an impromptu speech thanks to his recommendations, and that is something I really value. And third, he was very committed. I would come to her anytime, and she would come back to me with feedback. Like, let's say I would write my speeches, and I was amazed of the time she would invest into reviewing my speech, sending the feedback, with giving me enough time for me to rehearse. That was very nice. Also, after the meetings, as I mentioned, she would stay with me and also hear me out. She would not only give me feedback, but she will hear me out about my experience in the club, about my experience even in other aspects of life. At the time I was struggling a little bit professionally, and she would give me also feedback about those aspects. And that's what you're looking into a mentor. Someone who is experienced, someone who is supportive, but also someone who is committed. So, my fellow Toastmasters, if you are thinking about getting into this mentoring program, I invite you to reach out to our VP of Education, and even better if you have any names in your mind. So before I wrap up, I would like to know any ideas of who my mentor was? Yes, please.
Was it Andrew Valencias?
No.
James.
No.
John?
Sarah?
No.
Who said he?
Beth?
No.
No.
Yes, the experienced, the positive, and the committed was big.
Always.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, I never thought it was.